Hey, Dave. So you should see yourself up there in the upper right. Is that right? Where
Yep.
okay, and me, and then you have my screen available to you. So essentially, what Dave and I are doing is setting up a pair programming session, and this is the type of session that I want or would hope that teachers will encourage students to do, and for the boot camp, the teachers will be doing. And the nice thing about this is you can do this via Zoom. You don't have to be in the same room to do it. And if it's just the two of you, you can do it with a free account, and you can spend as much time as you want because it's only the two of us. Once you get to three, you need a paid account. So um, pair programming, as it would imply, is basically for two. And the idea behind it is one in which two minds are better than one. And collaboration is a key part of this that we want to encourage. However, there is sort of a primary role and a secondary role. And so what I'm going to do is play the secondary role in this, which means I'm going to be the one typing and entering code. And Dave is going to sort of take the driver's seat and thinking about, well, what if we do this and what if we do that? And that's where I will, give my feel and comment and so forth. And we're really going to discover this together. So, what I've done is just created a new project for macOS command line just to keep it simple so we don't have a lot of boilerplate code that we have to get rid of that's related to Swift UI and other things that you're probably not even up to yet in the course. We'll also definitely use some constructs and some other things that you haven't been taught yet. Don't worry about that. The point of this video is for you to understand the process of what we're going through more than anything else, because this is the process that I hope that you will take forward when you do your pair programming. So any comments, Dave, you would like to make on that before we jump in? Or
just that you're going to see us actually learn because neither of us have solved this problem before. And yeah, I think as a developer, just, feel free to try things. And if it doesn't work, try to figure out why or improve it.
Exactly. So what are we doing?
So this file is called sorting strings, or this folder, I guess, project. So I guess we're going to sort some strings.
Okay.
So I think the problem that I had thought of was given an array of strings of different length, sort them from smallest to largest.
Okay.
So why don't we just really quickly build the project just to make sure that everything builds correctly and we're not going to
Command B and we just got build succeeded. And if I do Command R, which is the same as running it, we should, I don't know if it's not printing anything, if we will probably, let's just do this.
Yeah, print hello world maybe.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello. All right.
So yeah, we always like to just kind of start with a clean slate, and before writing any complicated code, make sure that things build correctly before getting too deep.
So great point. So down here in the console, we see the word hello. And so this looks good. We are off to the races. So
okay. So I said, why don't we just do a comment really quick just to keep track. Given an array of strings of different sizes, sort from smallest to largest. So that's the goal.
That's the goal.
So the first thing we have is given an array of strings of different sizes. So why don't we create an array of strings of different sizes?
All right.
And we could start.
How do I do that, Dave?
You can create a constant with let. Let strings array equals, and then open bracket, and then quote. Let's start simple. Just do Kevin, comma, Dave. Sorry, outside of the quotes.
So we'll do Kevin, comma, Dave. See, we really are doing this for the first time.
Couple things here. Let is a way of declaring something that's not going to change. So basically, we're going to just keep this strings array the way it is. And the variable name strings array, notice that it is very descriptive, but very concise. It's an array of strings array. So
Good. Okay. So we have our array of strings. And what I like about this is, when you think about a problem and you may not even have a feel for what the solution is yet, what you do know is you're not going to sort a array of strings if you don't have an array of strings to sort. So what we did is we just created one. And so it's sort of start with something small.
yep.
And so, of course, Xcode's compiling along with us all the time, but just to see, to convince ourselves that what we typed was syntactically correct and compiled, I just did Command B. All right.
Cool.
So now what?
So I like to think about this as a function. And I would assume that our function is going to be given an array of strings of different sizes, and the function is going to give us back the sorted array of strings.
Okay.
So knowing that, let's create a function with func.
Okay.
And you can go ahead and use that autocomplete. Do you want to
Sure.
use autocomplete for Xcode? So if you do that, click enter. Now we're going to name the function sort array of strings, maybe.
Okay.
Okay. And the parameter is going to be a array of strings. So basically what we will say here is, let's call this parameter strings array and do colon space and then open bracket and string.
Okay.
And yep. And then what is this going to return? It's actually going to return an array of strings. So same thing, same data type, string.
Okay.
Yep. And it's going to probably complain now until we return something. So why don't you get rid of that function body placeholder by just saying return and then open bracket, close bracket. Square bracket.
Oh.
I think
Return
this
empty array.
Yeah, I think this should, yeah, so that will build. So we just have to remember that we don't want to return that empty array in the future. But
By the way, did you notice I just took the return statement out and it still compiles?
you don't need that?
You don't need it if it's only one line.
But anytime, so when you add a line,
if we added any lines in front of it, then it is not implied.
okay.
But if you have a function that basically you can do it all in a statement, you don't need to add the return.
Oh, cool.
I didn't know that until a couple of weeks ago. So
I didn't know that until 20
another
seconds
advantage of pair programming is each other discover new things. So
Yep.
okay.
All right. So now we need to start to figure out how to sort this array. At the obviously we can't return something until we've done some processing on it. So why don't you give us some space ahead of the return? Okay. So I guess,
is it sort of do we need to create an array that sort of matches the original passed in string array, but is going to actually be the counts?
What are you thinking? What do you mean?
So we would iterate through the strings array and then create a new array that has all of the counts. Does that help us or no?
What if we used a dictionary?
Okay.
And basically keyed the dictionary off of the count of each word.
Okay.
And then I don't know if that would work. Basically, I was thinking like, you could group all of the 4 character strings under 4. What do you think?
Um, I think that can work. The dictionary, that's the dictionary key is the count, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Your idea?
Mm-hmm.
So then the only other thing we'll have to do is, getting the keys back,
Mm.
they're not ordered.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll need to order them and then we can pull the array. So each one of the, like, if we have a dictionary value where the key is 3, that's actually an array of strings that's going to be all the strings that have 3 as a count.
Yep. And then we'd basically say, um, you know, create or add everything under 3 and then go to
That's right.
4. If 4 exists, add everything under 4.
Exactly.
Um,
Okay,
can
I
you
like that.
so
So,
if we ask the dictionary for its keys, that comes back as an array. Would it be cheating to then just sort that array
no,
because they're all ints?
I don't know how to do that, but yeah,
Okay.
we could maybe Google that and
I yeah,
see if there's
let's
such a function. But
I think there might
so
be.
okay, so maybe what's our first thing here is just to declare this dictionary.
Yes.
Okay.
So um I think couldn't this be a let as well, or should we just make it var?
Let's start with a var.
Okay.
And then, there's two strategies here. Start with a var and then let the compiler tell us this could have been a let,
Yep.
or start with a let and then you go to do something and it says you can't do it because it's a let. But
Yep.
so we'll do var here, and then what
Um
to name the dictionary?
count
Count dic.
dictionary.
Yep,
Okay. And then equals, and you'll do, I guess, int colon and string, array of strings.
there you go. Yes, array of string.
So
And
basically what we're saying here is we're going to create this kind of lookup table, and the count of, like, Kevin is going to be 5.
mhm,
So 5 is going to go in the key, and then Kevin will be added to the array of strings for that key.
exactly.
So let's go ahead and loop through
So, yep, but
our.
one thing I'm noticing here, Dave, is we didn't quite finish this line
Mm,
14. So
yep.
we've declared the type, but because there's an equal sign here, count dictionary is wanting to be assigned
Yep.
a dictionary. So we want to do open close paren here. That will create an empty dictionary. So now we have a dictionary. I think now we're where we wanted to be.
Yes.
And then
Yep.
we can ignore this warning because we're not done yet.
Yeah, we're about to use it.
Yes.
Okay. And basically, just to talk this through, for every item in the strings array that we get in this function,
Yep.
we want to look at the count. If that key exists in the count dictionary, add it. If it doesn't, create the key and then add it.
Correct. Yes, I would say what we want to do is if the key doesn't exist, then we just add it to the dictionary with that key, but we add it as the first element of an array.
Yep. We'll have to
And then
initialize the array.
exactly. And if the key does exist,
Just
then
append it.
we just append to the array.
Perfect. Okay, so to loop through an array, I would use a for loop. In Swift, you can just do for, let's call it string, maybe, in strings array.
Let's do the string,
The
just so
string,
we're not
yeah,
kind of overloading with a type.
yeah,
Yep, for the
in
string in.
strings array. So it's nice. I like how that reads because it's very clear. For every string within that array, now we will do something. So do a curly brace, and yep. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, let's say let count equals the string dot, I believe it's dot characters dot length.
I
Or,
think
oh, nice. We could just do
we can
dot
just do
count.
count, yeah, on string.
Okay. And now we will take that count. And let's see. So
now we want to see if this is in the dictionary, right?
So would we do an if let?
That's how I would think about it,
Cool.
because one of the things that is interesting about dictionaries is if you ask the dictionary for a key value pair and you give it a key that doesn't exist, it's going to return nil.
Perfect.
So it'll be an optional.
So we can do if let.
Let is definitely, I think, what we want here.
If let array for count, maybe? Or what?
Yeah, that works. So if let array for count.
Because this is the array of strings at the count that we're
That's right.
working with.
So we
And
say,
the way that we access that equals count dictionary, then open bracket count.
that's
And
it.
will this, yeah. So then do our, yep.
And then I think,
So
do we think we'd need an else here?
yes, I think that will be the clearest.
Yeah.
So basically what this is saying is if there's an array, then we know that it exists. And
Yep.
at that point, we just say array for count dot append the string.
Exactly. So
that will take the string that we're currently working with from this for loop and append it to the end of that array. Okay. And then if that array is let constant, wouldn't that still work though? You could do if var.
so array for count is saying it's a let. And then because it's a constant, we can't append to it. But if we make this a var, if var, then we should be good to go.
Yeah.
Yep.
So basically now we've added that string, but if that array does not exist, then we say count dictionary count equals open bracket the string. So that will create an array, and the first element of that array is our string.
Yep.
Now, next time we have another string of that length, it'll find,
Yep.
Okay. So now we've looped through everything in that strings array. Why don't we just build it really quick just to make sure everything's
Okay, I just hit Command B, build succeeded.
cool. Okay. Just to show what we're visualizing, why don't we print out this dictionary on line 23 after we've looped through it? Can we do that?
Yep. So we can just say, well, let's try the lazy man's way first, which is just print the dictionary.
Yep, let's try it.
So this is going to be count dictionary.
Could never remember if it will actually output what we want or if. So what would we expect it to? We'd expect to see a key 5 and Kevin and a key 4 and Dave.
Both in arrays.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, Dave, do we need to call this function, or is this just going to run on its own?
I think we need to call it.
Oh,
good catch,
right.
Kevin.
Okay.
So yeah, we should afterwards. Let's go ahead and.
So if we did
that wouldn't have been a very exciting.
we would be, why is nothing running? Okay, so sort array of strings, and then I'm going to give it the strings array. And we are good. Now, one of the things that I don't like about this that I think can be a little confusing is when we name this, we also have this as the same name as a parameter.
Perfect.
So I want to change. How do you feel if I change this name to something different?
Well, I would say actually, why don't you on line 13 before strings array, put a underbar so that we can basically keep it named strings array
for us. But
within this, and
sorry.
then we don't need that there.
Yep.
And I think I get what you're saying. Since let strings array is outside of this function, it is available within that function. Why don't we name it something different? I think that.
So to do that, one of the cool things is you can right click on this and say refactor and rename. And when you do that, what it does is it finds all the references for where this is used. And so if we say, let's say R array, maybe,
Yeah.
all right, and hit enter, and now it's made that change safely where every reference to it that makes sense got changed as well.
Yeah. I think that was a good call out because on line 15, we're referencing strings array, but the compiler could, I mean, it is kind of confusing because that
Yeah.
strings array from 11 was available there.
So this is definitely in scope to everything here.
Yeah.
So the other thing I think we could do too is if we wanted to, we could cut this out and
Yeah.
put this down here. And now we know for sure that this function does not see this because it's declared afterwards. So it's out of scope.
Yep.
Okay. So if we're going to, let's go ahead and run this. So I'll do Command R. And so it looks like in our dictionary, we have a 4 and a 5. And
for some reason, they're ordered.
Now they are ordered here. Let me just see if I do this again. Notice this time. See, this is a good demonstration of the fact that it is completely unpredictable what order you will get keys back, and that's because dictionaries are unordered. And that is a quiz question. But
why don't we add another string just so that we can see that it adds another key for us? So in our array on 25, add Penelope.
Oh my, I can't spell Penelope.
Oh, okay. Penelope.
Penelope.
See, this is why pair programming is important.
It's so important because especially when I can't spell. Now we do Command R again.
You should see an 8.
And we see an 8.
All right. So as we can see, they are not in any order when they're in the dictionary.
Oh, no. There is one other thing I think we might test here, which is what if we have 2 strings with the same length?
Okay. So what's another name? John with an H, John. So we would expect to see this in Dave. Doesn't seem like it worked.
I think I have a hunch why. So let me talk it through with you and see if you might agree. So when we get this array for count, we're actually getting a copy of what's in this dictionary. And the copy is getting appended
but we're not
a value, but we're not putting it back in the dictionary.
Is that because the array is a struct and it's doing pass by copy?
Well, arrays and dictionaries in Swift will all be copy by value.
Copy by value, yeah.
Reference. So what I'm thinking is let's just try this. Count dictionary count equals array for count.
Yeah, reset it. Reassign it.
Now we'll run this again. And there we go. So now we got Dave and John.
Yep.
Okay.
Good catch. Yeah, good thing we tested that. That would have been confusing down the line.
Absolutely. And again, the strength of 2 people working on it.
So on 22, what happens if we do count dictionary dot keys? So this is going to give us an array of the keys. So 5, 4, 8. So now can we sort keys? Can we say dot sorted?
Let's see.
Sort an array of ints.
Sort array in Swift.
Dot sort.
So there is several different things here. This is the Apple documentation, and then here's somebody hacking with Swift. The Apple documentation is extremely thorough, but sometimes I think it can be a little confusing. Let's just
do sort array of ints in Swift, because I see that Stack Overflow Yeah. So why don't we just try?
Want to try the first one?
Yeah. Feeling lucky.
Okay, let's go with this first one here. So as we scroll down here, we see
dot sorted.
Yeah, so here's an array, and then they say here's a resulting array that is dot sorted. And what's interesting here is this dot sorted wants to return an array. That's what's going to go here.
Yep.
But down here, there's also one where you can sort the array in place. So this one would do that. So we can decide, you know, either.
I think we say dot sorted, and then we can just call it sorted array or something.
Where is my
sorting strings? Okay. So on 21, why don't we give ourselves a space after that closing bracket and say, let sorted keys array equals count dictionary dot keys. And what was it? Dot sorted?
Sorted.
Okay.
So by the way, this is completion's cool too, because if we just do sort, so sorted returns the elements of a sequence sorted. Okay, so let's do that.
Okay. Now, that is going to give us exactly what we need to look for in the dictionary, because it's the keys from the dictionary.
That sorted keys array.
And we'd expect to see 4, 5, 8 here.
5, 8. There we go. 4, 5, 8. Awesome.
Beautiful. And if you run it again, it's still going to be 4, 5, 8.
I hope so. Even though the order it got, the sort comes out the same, which is great.
All right. So then what we need to do is create a sorted array. Maybe create this as a var.
Not a car.
Sorted array, and then just do equals open bracket string, close bracket, and then initialize it with, yep. And then basically for every key in sorted array, in sorted keys array, we want to look up and add everything at that key to the sorted array.
So for key in sorted
keys array. Yep.
That will give us the key. Now we want to look it up. So
at the count dictionary.
We wanted to say if let what do we want to use for a variable name here?
Array for count we could use again.
Array for count equals, I'll be lazy.
Yep. So if the array exists, then we want to add it to sorted array.
This is key, right?
Key,
not count. That's what I get. That's a copy and paste error.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So sorted array dot append, and then array for count. And this should add the elements, or no. So we don't want to add the array. We want to add, contents of. Yeah, that's what we want. So basically, if we did this,
how did you do contents of so quickly?
The error on the right.
Okay. So I guess I can just click this and say fix contents of.
Yeah. So now we'll take all the things out of the array and put them in order. Yeah. So what happens if the array doesn't exist? Nothing. That's fine.
And by the way, I don't think this can never come back nil, because we're doing a for loop on the keys. So this key is going to give us the set of keys, and then here we're referencing it. So we really know for sure this should never come back nil, which is fine. Right?
Yep. It's just safety, I guess.
Safety, yep.
And now we don't want to return an empty array. We want to return a sorted array.
All right.
So,
Now,
well, right now, nothing will print because we're not printing the output of sort array of strings. So why don't we just print sort array of strings? Does that make sense?
uh-huh.
Because basically that function will give us an array of strings and we'll print that.
All right, so I did a build. Let's run it. Drum roll. I don't have a drum roll MP3 sound thing.
Dave, John, Kevin, Penelope. Sounds like
That looks
members
like
of a band.
Exactly. I
So
love that.
let's try a couple names like Tom and Artemis.
That's not. Yeah. So
Yeah, just add it to the end.
and we'll run it again.
And Tom should be first. Artemis.
And Dave, John, Kevin.
Perfect.
No, it works perfect. Awesome. So now we can submit our project. And basically the way we would do that is Option Command C will allow us to commit it. And if you had brought this down through the normal process of bringing your lab down, you'll have a remote automatically that this will go to. You just put in that you finished it and you hit commit and you have submitted your project. So that's awesome.
Our next step, Kevin, is probably, going back, looking through this, making sure that there's nothing else we can clean up. But we don't need to do that. I mean, that's something we can do after.
Perfect. Well, thank you for helping me with pair programming through this. This was definitely a lot easier with two of us thinking through it together. And
we found a lot of errors before they happened.
Exactly. So awesome.
Cool.